President Biden met with at least 14 of Hunter Biden's business associates while he was vice president in the Obama White House, casting further doubt on the president's repeated claims that he had no knowledge of his son's foreign business dealings.
Gross domestic product, the broadest measure of goods and services produced across the economy, shrank by 0.9% on an annualized basis in the three-month period from April through June in U.S., the Commerce Department said in its first reading of the data on Thursday. Refinitiv economists expected the report to show the economy had expanded by 0.5%.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un warned this week that his country is willing to use the absolute power of its nuclear weapons against the US and South Korea. Our armed forces are completely prepared to respond to any crisis, and our country's nuclear war deterrent is also ready to mobilize its absolute power dutifully, exactly and swiftly in accordance with its mission, Kim said in Wednesday's speech, according to the state-run Korean Central News Agency.
Former Pentagon official has said that Congress is sleeping at the wheel as China gains footholds in America. Congress must be sleeping at the wheel for allowing China to purchase nearly 200,000 acres of agricultural land on U.S. soil, a former top Air Force official told Fox News.
Ukraine has said that Moscow's forces had struck a military base north of the capital Kiev, in a rare admission of a Russian attack on Ukrainian military infrastructure. Senior Ukraine military official Oleksiy Gromov told reporters on Thursday that Russian forces had fired 6-caliber cruise missiles on a military base in Lyatizh, at around 0200 GMT.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres has welcomed the inauguration of the Joint Coordination Center established in Istanbul as part of a historic deal to restart Ukrainian grain exports to the world. The UN chief also thanked Russia and Ukraine on Thursday for nominating and quickly sending their senior representatives to Istanbul, where the center was officially opened on Wednesday.
A court in Bangladesh has sentenced 6 men to death for committing crimes against humanity during the country's independence war in 1971. 5 of the convicts were present for the sentencing on Thursday in the capital Dhaka, while 1 is absconding. A 7th accused has died since the case was launched in November 2015. A 3-member international crimes tribunal convicted the defendants on charges of committing murders and engaging in looting, kidnapping and arson in the southwestern city of Khulna in 1971. All 6 were said to be supporters of the now-defunct Convention Muslim League and opposition Jamaat-e-Islami during a months-long war that led to Bangladesh gaining independence from Pakistan in 1971. The tribunal, set up in 2009, has been criticized by international rights groups for not following fair trial standards. Abdus Sattar Palwan, the convict's lawyer, told reporters that his clients did not get justice, and that they will challenge the verdict in a higher court.
3 foreign climbers are missing and feared dead on Pakistan's Karakoram mountain range in the country's far north, an official has said. A senior government official from the Gilgit-Baltistan Tourism Department said on Thursday that Canadian Richard Cartier and Australian Matthew Eakin were missing on K2, the world's second highest mountain, while Briton Gordon Henderson was lost climbing Broad Peak, the 12th highest.
Sea levels are increasing around Britain at a far faster rate than a century ago while the country is warming slightly more than the global average, leading meteorologists have said. The annual study, published on Wednesday and titled State of the UK Climate 2021, found recent decades have been warmer, wetter and sunnier than the 20th century.
The UN Security Council has condemned the Myanmar junta's execution of 4 prisoners, drawing praise from ousted Myanmar lawmakers. In a rare consensus on the post-coup crisis, the Security Council on Wednesday released a statement condemning the executions, Myanmar's first in decades, and calling for the immediate release of ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi.
At least 66 people were killed in terrorist attacks in several towns in Mali, according to security sources. The Malian armed forces repelled terrorist attacks targeting positions in Savare, Sokolo and Kalamba early this Wednesday, July 27. The response, carried out with energy and professionalism, has enabled the attackers to be routed and pursued, Colonel Souleymane Dembele, the Army's Director of Information and Public Relations, said in a statement.
The recent monsoon spell in the country pummeled Balochistan, leaving destruction in its way as more than 100 people lost their lives and thousands of homes were completely destroyed.
The Punjab Assembly passed a no-confidence motion against Deputy Speaker Dost Mohammad Mazari after his ties deteriorated with the ruling PTI.
Chairman of PTI Imran Khan has strongly condemned the arrest of leader of the opposition in Sindh Assembly Halim Adil Sheikh a day after he was held by the province's anti-corruption establishment.
Mashal Malik, the wife of Kashmiri freedom fighter Yasin Malik, has revealed that her husband is in critical condition and he is admitted to a hospital after going on a hunger strike. Taking to Twitter, Mashal said that Yasin's life was in danger and he had refused to take medical help from the doctors.
Despite some hopes, the gas produced from manure cannot alone rid Germany of Russian fossil fuels, a leading biogas expert has explained. Berlin has been rushing to find ways to replace Russian natural gas after the EU imposed sanctions on Moscow over its military operation in Ukraine. Biogas, gas produced from organic waste, such as manure, corn or grass, has been discussed in German media as an alternative to the natural gas delivered through pipelines from Russia. There are around 9,500 biogas plants scattered across rural parts of the country, according to Der Spiegel magazine. Farmers convert the generated gas into electricity and heating for their homes.
The Warsaw City Administration is mulling the idea of limiting the number of decorative lights this Christmas or even turning them off completely to encourage Poles to save energy, local media reported on Wednesday.
Russia has formally opened the 2022 edition of the Children of Asia Games, which is being held in Vladivostok. A message from Russian President Vladimir Putin was among those to be read out to participants at the opening ceremony on Thursday.
NATO's arsonist-in-chief Jens Stoltenberg wants the Western public to pay for a Ukrainian fire he helped to ignite.
Former President Hamid Karzai's Chief of Staff Abdul Karim Khurram's tweet on Pakistan's intention regarding the imposition of a new Wakhan corridor policy has triggered a heated debate. On July 22, Khurram wrote on his Twitter handle that Pakistan had renewed its demand for the construction of a transit road via Wakhan for trade with Tajikistan. Some sources urged the government to pay serious attention to Wakhan corridor because passive politics in this regard may inflict short and long-term losses on Afghanistan. Zabihullah Mujahid, spokesman for the interim government, reacting to such statements, said, "No discussion has taken place on the issue. There will be no compromise even on an inch of Afghanistan's territory." Some former government figures, who expressed concerns in this regard, believed the Taliban administration also followed their policy, he added. Currently, no one can give Afghanistan the evil eye. Acting Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi has discussed the release of Afghanistan's frozen foreign reserves and economic issues with U.S. representatives.
U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan Thomas West says all colleagues at the Tashkent conference have asked the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan to lift the ban on girls' education, remove curbs on journalists and respect human rights. On his Twitter handle West wrote, "Many colleagues also raised grave concerns regarding human rights abuses, including restrictions on journalists and women's ability to contribute to the country's economic growth. We want IEA to lift ban on girls' schools and curbs on journalists."
Why did protesters storm the parliament in Iraq? That's the answer of this question among the Iraq's political chaos is being searched. More than 9 months after Iraq held its October 2021 parliamentary elections, political leaders have been unable to form a government. The country's political crisis reached a boiling point when demonstrators, mostly supporters of Shia leader Muqtada al-Sadr, that is one of the most powerful people in the country, he stormed the Iraqi parliament on Wednesday to protest against corruption and one of the candidates running for prime minister. Al-Sadr had ordered his parliamentary bloc to resign en masse in June after the parliament failed to form a government.
Nigerian opposition senators are pushing for President Muhammadu Buhari to face impeachment, less than a year before the end of his second term in office, over the country's spreading security problems, the Senate Minority Leader said on Wednesday. In February 2023, Nigerians go to the polls to elect a new president in a hotly contested vote where security and the state of the economy will be the main issues. At a closed Senate session, senators of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) tried to introduce a motion giving Buhari 6 weeks to improve the country's security or face impeachment, Senator Philip Aduda said.
Be aware. With the world. APN. Broadcast Service.